let's just get this out of the way. Most people will never, ever understand you. And you know what? The moment you really accept that, everything changes. The ancient Stoics, they knew this. They saw being misunderstood not as some problem you have to solve, but as a filter. It's a tool that separates the people who are genuinely curious about you from those who've already made up their minds. So the question is, are you ready to learn how to flip this? How to turn misunderstanding from a source of pain into a source of power? Let's dive in.
You know that feeling, right? That familiar, uncomfortable pressure when someone totally misreads your intentions. Maybe they call you selfish just because you set a boundary, or they say you're cold because you chose to be quiet. And what happens? You feel this immediate hot-in-the-chest urge to explain, to prove you're not who they think you are. But that internal battle, that constant need to defend your own character, it is costing you way more than you think.
This quote right here, it just nails it. And pay attention to that last word, yourself. See, you haven't just lost an argument, you've lost your own center. You've basically started auditioning for their approval, letting somebody else write the job description for your own self-worth. It's an exhausting game, and let me tell you, it's a completely unwinnable one.
You know, this deep-seated need we have to be understood, it's a trap. And guess who sets it? We do. We tell ourselves that if we could just explain ourselves a little more clearly or be a little more vulnerable, then they would finally get it. But all that does is hand them the remote control to your reality, and it drains your time, your energy, and most importantly, your self-respect.
The Stoics actually had a name for this, voluntary suffering. And that word, voluntary, that's the key. It's a choice. Imagine a friend cancels on you last minute, and you spend the next 2 days obsessing, wondering if they think you're clingy for being a little disappointed. That obsession? That's you choosing to suffer by making your peace depend on their opinion. But here's the secret. Your peace is yours. It's not up for a vote.
And this is the absolutely cruel irony of the whole thing, isn't it? People who've already judged you, they're not looking for the truth. Nope, they're looking for confirmation. So all your frantic explanations, your passionate defenses, you're just handing them exactly what they want on a silver platter. You're confirming the story they wanted to believe about you all along.
So, okay, how do we escape this trap? We have to reframe the entire goal. See, the Stoics, they weren't chasing after external understanding. What they sought was internal alignment with their own truth, their own virtues, their own reason. Let's talk about how this one shift in mindset can build you a brand new, much more resilient foundation.
This is a radical act of liberation. Think about it. Everyone is the hero of their own story, right? And sometimes, for their story to work, you have to be the villain. The Stoic response? Let them. Seriously, let them. You don't have to run around putting out every little fire, correcting every false narrative. Your peace is so much more valuable than their opinion.
Okay, so we've looked at the problem, we've talked about the mindset shift. Now we get to the good part, the toolkit. Here are 7 actionable, Stoic rules for navigating misunderstanding and taking back your calm, unshakable power.
All right, rule number 1, and I'm telling you, this is a game changer. It sounds so simple, but it is not easy to do. But mastering this one idea, it is the absolute key to unlocking real inner peace in these situations.
You do not owe an explanation to someone who has already drawn their conclusion without a shred of curiosity. Their misunderstanding is not your emergency. Your silence in this situation, it's not weakness. It is a powerful boundary. It actually teaches people that you are not available for their cross-examination.
But look, I get it. Life isn't always so black and white. What if you're dealing with someone you genuinely care about, and a misunderstanding could actually damage the relationship? Well, that's where our second rule comes into play.
The key here is all about respecting your own energy. Offer your truth one time, calmly, clearly, and completely. Then you step back. If they didn't hear you the first time, repeating yourself over and over isn't going to help. They're not listening to understand. They're listening for an opening to argue. Don't give it to them.
Rule number 3 is about letting go. It really targets that deep emotional need we have to be understood, which, let's be honest, is usually the real source of our suffering.
This quote from Marcus Aurelius, this is the core of Stoic practice. You have to detach from the outcome of being seen correctly. You have to get this. Being understood and being valued are 2 totally different things. You can be completely misunderstood by someone and still be respected for how you carry yourself. What really matters is that you stay intact, not whether they finally get you.
All right, the 4th rule is all about building an unshakable inner fortress. It's about proactively protecting your sense of who you are from the opinions and projections of other people.
When someone misunderstands you, what they're really doing is offering you a negative story about yourself. And if you don't have a clear, non-negotiable sense of who you are, you might just start auditioning for that negative role. Here's the crucial point. When you know who you are, their confusion is just noise. It can't shake you.
Okay, this next rule is so powerful. It's a mental model for organizing your social world, and, maybe more importantly, protecting your energy. It helps you decide who deserves your time and attention, and who really doesn't.
So think of your world in these 3 circles. At the very center, that's you and your core principles, your non-negotiables. In that next circle are those few people who have truly earned your trust. And everybody else, they start in the outer circle. Misunderstanding acts like a filter. It shows you through their behavior exactly where people belong. And that's not cruel, it's just clarity.
Rule 6 gives us a super practical way to cut through all that messy noise of opinions and interpretations. It forces us to focus on the one thing that actually matters: what people do. Stop arguing about who you are. Instead, just observe what they do. Did they respect your boundary, or did they steamroll right over it? Did they ask a question to understand, or did they just assign a nasty motive? See, you're no longer defending your character, you're simply setting your terms based on their actual, tangible behavior.
And finally, we've arrived at the 7th and, I think, the most transformative rule. This isn't just a tactic, this is the ultimate goal of the whole practice. It's a long-term strategy for a truly peaceful life.
Over time, a life that's aligned with your values, it becomes its own undeniable proof. You no longer waste energy explaining why you set a boundary or why you walked away from a toxic situation. The well-lived life itself becomes the only argument you need. Your consistency becomes the evidence, and your peace becomes the proof.
So, to make this all incredibly practical, let's just boil it down to an exact protocol. Think of this as your emergency action plan for the very next time you feel that sting of being misunderstood.
First, and this is the most important, pause. Just take a breath, let that defensive emotional wave wash over you, and then let it pass. Second, if you absolutely must say something, speak once, calmly, completely, and without begging them to believe you. And third, redirect that precious energy. The hours you would have spent arguing, use them to build something, to create something, to connect with someone who matters, or to just rest.
Ultimately, this is what it all comes down to. Your primary mission in life is not to be understood by every single person you meet. It's to be so grounded in yourself, so aligned with your own truth, that the lack of understanding from other people, it just doesn't move you. Your real job is to build a life that is, in itself, the answer.